चालू हो गया?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all to Ortho TV online Monday Motivation Webinar Series. Today, we are going to use a new technology to play a motivation recording. This is by two speakers. Somehow they couldn't make it today, but they will come at the end of the recording to answer all your queries. To introduce the speakers, I hand over to Dr. Tushar Agarwal, who is going to be moderating the session.
Yeah, hi, good evening to you all, and thanks a lot, Ortho TV, for continuing to host this Motivational Monday. And thanks a lot all the audience who takes out their valuable time to join us. So this is a very unique process whereby we'll be showing you a very professionally done video. The video is based on resilience, and it is being conducted by this duo, the couple. They are professional and personal life partners. They are husband-wife team. They belong to what is called as ISRA, which is a center for training and development. So they do so many activities in terms of coaching and for development in the corporate sphere. But for us doctors today, they have these two special programs. One is on change management and one is on resilience. So for us today, we have decided to take this building resilience in the tough times. So go through this video, write down your questions, send your questions to us, and Mr. Shashank Gupta will actually come live at the end, towards the end of the session, and will answer all our queries. So Neeraj, we'll run the video.
Yes.
One hour, you are absolutely in the right place if you are grappling with a lot of changes in your life right now. If this is true for you, the 1 hour is going to be of use. The second thing is, if you are looking to develop greater mental stamina to navigate through tough times, and not just this time that we are facing right now, but any kind of challenging times that we go through in life. You are motivated to become a better leader, a better parent, a better spouse, and most importantly, a better person. Then you want to become a better version of yourself.
You are a learner and open to new experiences and opportunities for learning. We know a lot of you, and we can say this yes for a lot of you guys here.
So this is a good time for you to again reach out to your chat box and tell us which one of these is the most prominent for you right now. Your best reason for being in this 1 hour with us. Is it because you're grappling with changes, or you want to have more mental stamina? Or is it that you want to become a much better version of yourself? Or is it that you are a learner and every single opportunity takes you to a better level? I love the answer which says all. So yes, each one of this is also relevant. I think for a lot of people that I've been working with, even the second version is relevant, that I need to be able to build more mental strength.
I can see the answers coming in, and it's thank you for sharing your thoughts. Now, a lot of you don't know us, especially people who haven't got a chance to meet us. Yes. So a good question is, who are we? Yeah, who are both of us?
I can say that very safely, without really sounding immodest, that Shashank and I are in a good position to lead this session for you today. The reason being is that I'm a psychologist. I have a double majors in psychology. My name is Sneha Shah. Been doing this work for 13 years now. I'm the director of ISRA. And both Shashank and I have started the company together 13 years ago.
Absolutely. We've delivered workshops in 10 countries across the world. We worked with 5 international languages. Of course, both of us don't know them, but we've had people who've translated that for us. We've got 15 plus international certifications. I would say a little more than
Much more than that.
The whole idea has been to be able to constantly learn and grow, just like most of you here. And we've been 13 plus years in business. Almost 90% of our clients are the ones who come to us repeat.
We have over 150 facilitators in 35 countries. We have a huge global network of resources, of clients, of people who have been trained by us. So while I'm the psychologist, Shashank is the engineer. And we both have very, very different competencies, and we bring in very, very different perspectives. We both have been into the coaching space for a long, long time now. So we are going to bring in a lot of our experiences, a lot of our very, very validated global concepts into today's day as well. As we talk about who we are as people, you know, what's amazing is that I believe that any kind of a session, and we are here because we want to serve you. We want to be able to make that small little difference in your day to day, in the week to come. And which is why we always hold a vision when we walk into this space. What's the vision that we are holding for you today? This is a vision that we want to ask you as well, that what would become possible in your life if you were no longer held back by fears of any kind. And this could be any kind of fears. It could be relationships, it could be work, it could be anything that you're doing on a daily basis. What would become possible if you were not held back by fears? What would become possible if you were not burned by your past failures, or you were not carrying any kind of past baggage? And what would become possible? I love the answer here, that I could put my dreams into action. And what a beautiful space. What would become possible if you felt free to fly? With the knowledge that you have strong wings to be able to take you up far and wide. What would that be like? You know, a lot of times we tend to hold ourselves back because of the way we are feeling and what's happening inside of us. And that's the reason today's session is so important. So this is the vision that we are holding, that what would become possible for each one of us if we are able to have this. Yeah. Now,
what is the one thing that we all need in order to survive?
Yeah, we are in times which are changing. I want you to go back to not just this time. Look at the past 1 year. Look at the past 3 years. You know, things have been changing so rapidly that it almost feels like it's difficult to catch up. Whether it's changes in technology, whether it's changes in climate, whether it's the environment that we are living in, even the kind of products, the services, the economic situation that we are in, everything is constantly changing. And each one of us is constantly playing catch up. You know, we need to keep catching up, keep catching up, keep catching up. And I think one thing that seems to be the big question, what do I need in order to survive? I believe that we all survive. You know, what's the big deal in surviving? The question is, what is the one thing that we all need in order to thrive? And thrive is, you know, when all, I already see how do we thrive. Nandini has put that, you know, so the reason it's not only about just living, waking up every day and having a mechanical, robotic approach to life, but really being able to operate from the space of a lot of joy and a lot of alignment and a sense of growing and thriving in life. So what is it that we all need? And each one of you has written different things, whether it's awareness, whether it's adaptability, you know, ability to love more, inner work, all of this has been there. For the longest time, given the work that I have been, this is a part of the research that I've been a part of all the time. For many years, the focus has been external. You know, so we need to be able to have the right kind of packaging. You know, it has been the world of packaging. So if I'm able to project myself as somebody who's confident, if I'm able to dress well, if my personality is good, if I have a wonderful, strong presence, if I'm able to communicate in an effective way, chances are that I'm going to make big in life. Today, each one of us knows that that's not what sustains our ability to thrive anymore. And today, each and every one is then asking the question, what will help me thrive? It's moved from external to internal now. And what helps us thrive, go to any research which is out there, and which is what Vikas says, that, you know, it's all over the place, resilience. But it's really about the kind of mental stamina and strength that we have within to deal with things. It is the kind of grit, the resilience, the ability to bounce back, the ability to stay, the ability to withstand. All of these things are now creating the huge difference that we are looking at.
I love the couple of statements and sharings here. Yes, we are living in a VUCA world. And the fact is that it's getting more and more complex as we are passing. And Ankita, answering your question, is it really possible to live a life away from the zone of playing catch up? Yes, we are going to be answering that question as well.
And I want you to know that you're not alone, because most of us are operating from that space all the time. The question is, what is it doing to us on daily basis? What is it that we are going through? What's the kind of leftover that we are left with really at the end of the day? So the one thing that we all need in order to thrive is what we call as resilience. And we are also going to name it as mental toughness or mental strength. Let me quickly define what this is all about. Resilience, yeah, we need you to listen to this carefully. Resilience is nothing but our mental stamina or the strength, inner strength, which allows us to deal with uncertainty. It allows us to deal with chaos. It allows us to deal with all kinds of stress and changes that we are coping with on daily basis. And the word here, which is interesting, that it's not just about dealing with it or coping with it, but resilience is that we are able to bounce back from these events much more stronger. We are able to bounce back feeling much more capable, and we bounce back feeling more resourceful. So it's not just that we have survived a difficult situation, but it's just that we have come out of it, in fact, much more stronger and having a stronger belief in ourselves than before. That is what resilience is all about. That is what mental strength and mental toughness is all about. I love these two things that define it. Yeah, and this is true. It's the capacity to recover from difficulties.
So what do we do when we are confronted by events? Yeah, the word here is do. And the next word is, who do we become when we are confronted by these events?
So what do we do when confronted by events is, what are the kind of thoughts, what are the kind of feelings, and what are the kind of actions that we are taking when we are confronted by these difficult times, these tough times, and then what is left over when these times pass? What's the kind of person that we become as a result of this? You know, what's amazing is that each one of us has gone through difficult experiences in our life, and it has impacted all of us. Yet, each one of us has come out of these experiences differently. And that is what mental toughness is all about. I love the way, each one is writing things. And, there's something which is called as staying positive. The question is, what is really staying positive? How do I stay positive? So we are going to be talking about it more when we move on.
I love this question. Yeah, the question is, in an attempt to bounce back and show myself as being strong, what will happen if I bottle up my emotions and contain it and I don't mourn the losses?
This is what I love, because it's not really bouncing back. It's actually about suppressing.
And they are two very different things.
They are two very different things. And unless and until I don't live through it, and we will talk about it. So when I suppress, it's almost like, it's pushed down, and it's a pressure cooker effect. So it is going to come out in one way or the other at some other point in life in a far more worst way than what I suppressed in the beginning.
Absolutely, Asha. You got that right. Bottling it up is like a pressure cooker, a volcano.
And you're just waiting for it to blast. Anything, Shank and I believe that any kind of process is incomplete until and unless I know where am I today. Only when I have an assessment of myself today is when I know where do I need to go or how much do I need to develop within myself. So the question that we have for you is, how tough, or what's the kind of mental strength that you have today? And remember, this is not about doing, strong, weak, good, bad, will be a success or a failure. No, not at all. This is just taking a moment of pause and looking inward and doing a quick check of how am I feeling today. So we have a very, very nice, quick little assessment here. And what we want you to do, the question we are going to ask here is that, are you surviving or are you thriving? We will come to that. So this is an assessment of mental toughness or mental strength. We are going to be asking you a couple of questions today. All you need to do is on your writing pad, simply write down your scores or your answers. We'll tell you what this is. Remember, you're not going to share it with anyone. This is your own assessment of yourself. So try and be as honest as you can. Shashank is going to take you through it one by one. Remember, we are reading all that you are sharing here. And like Deepa is saying, being able to adapt, absolutely true. Yeah, so we are going to look at this as
we also have a couple of interesting questions here. We are trying our best to answer them as and when they come up. Yeah. So I'm going to quickly take you through this assessment. So we would like you to bring your writing pad on and simply look at answering the question. I'm sorry, there are just too many, these Zoom windows open in front of me. Okay, I'm going to look at it on my paper here. So you have 0, 1, and 2. 0 says not like me. 1 says somewhat like me. And 2 says very much like me. Yeah. So you have to simply mark for every statement that you see on screen. You have to simply write a 0, 1, or 2.
Now, if you're ready for this assessment, we want you to quickly type in ready in the chat box. Yeah. So we know you're ready to go. You have that writing pad and pen with you. I love the ready.
I love that. And while I'm coming to you, Sumit has been asking a question for a while. He says, how would you describe the word experience?
The word experience simply means to be able to feel everything fully. That is what experience is all about. It's about what is actually coming from outside, what are we feeling inside, and it's being able to be present to both things, which is external and internal, is what creates an experience.
I love the way some people have written ready. I can see the excitement. Okay, so the first statement goes like this. I don't give up even when the odds are against me. If it is not like you, you put a 0. If it is somewhat like you, you put a 1. And if it's very much like you, you put a 2. Yeah, we are going to look at only 8 statements. I would like you to do it in your writing pad privately, not on the chat box here. Yeah, because you're going to be giving us a quick total. We have only 8 statements. The second one goes like this. I know how to relax during tense moments. Is it 0, is it 1, or is it 2? I don't worry about bad luck. I focus on what I can control. I let mistakes go and focus on what's next.
Remember, be very honest with yourself and mark what is true for you right now. Not what was true for you in the past or how you would like to be, but what's true for you now. I let mistakes go. It's your own. The mistakes that you make, you're able to let them go and move on to whatever that's next, versus thinking about what happened, why did I do something that I did.
So we've done with 4 statements. We are going to move to statement number 5. Very quickly, it's going to be on the next slide. Okay, so statement number 5, the parameters remain the same. The statement is, I bounce back quickly from setbacks and failures. Yeah, is it a 0, 1, or 2? I bounce back quickly from setbacks and failures. We would love you to write it on your writing pad rather than a chat box here, because we would like you to create a total at the end of it. I have a strong belief in my abilities. 0, 1, or 2.
Even when I'm challenged externally, I don't lose sense of my abilities. I continue to have a strong belief in my abilities. Only then you put 2 there.
I don't give up easily. Yeah, be very honest, because the scores are going to stay with you. And the last one, I generally look at the brighter side of life. Okay, so I have a request to repeat screen 1. So I'm going to go back to screen 1 in less than 10 seconds. But for you, this is screen 2.
total of 8 statements. You need to have a score in each one, and then you need to do a grand total of your scores.
I can already see the scores coming in: 15, 10, 14, 13, 14, 9, 8, 12. I can see 8 with a lot of hearts there.
Yes.
Yeah, 20, 13, 8, 10, 21. Yeah, a lot of scores coming in there. I am just curious. Yeah, how would that be? Because the max you can get is 16. Well, Sneha's become a mathematician here.
Yes.
So above 16 is not possible. So the max you can get is a 16. So if you've got 20, then you're probably taking some other score.
So you're saying, sorry, 14.
Yes.
We get that.
Okay.
Yeah?
So would you like to know what your scores mean? I mean, the answer is obviously yes.
Yeah, so we'll tell you. But remember, when we talk about this, there is nothing right or wrong. There is nothing good or bad. It's not about being hard on yourself, but it's really about making an assessment of where am I right now. So let's look at the score. You know, if your scores are anywhere between 0 to 8, it means that you may not be experiencing enough of mental strength and resilience, especially when times are hard. That means that your inner strength tends to get depleted, and it makes it that much more harder for you to cope with things. Remember, it does not have to be good or bad. It's just an awareness.
Absolutely.
Which means that I consciously need to invest in building more resilience inside of myself. If your score is between 9 to 13, that's great, because you're growing in your mental strength every day. You're moving towards space where you are feeling stronger. Yet, there may be times when the going gets tough. You know, when times are tough, and when things are very overwhelming, when the stress pushes you against the wall, chances are those are the times when you tend to slip into a negative loop. So, which is why you are still in the growing space. And 14 to 16 is where you are thriving, which means that you are able to use your inner strength in a positive way. You're able to, put it out there. Also, a question to my 16 to a full 100% score is also whether you have been completely honest, number one. I'm sure you have, but it's a good question to ask yourself. And second is there a space for you to grow even more as far as your mental strength is concerned? And remember, it's not just about being mentally strong, but being mentally strong in a very compassionate way. So how is it that I'm going to be that?
I'm also going to quickly jump in here. Remember that this is not a space of judgment. Yeah, it's a space of self-awareness. So whatever your score is, that's where we begin from.
Yeah. So wherever you are, whether you're thriving, whether you're growing, whether you're surviving, all of this is relevant. For all the leaders who are on this webinar today, remember, even the people whom you're leading could be at different levels of mental strength, which means that not everybody will be able to withstand or cope with situations in equal ways. Yeah, so you as a leader may need to have different strategies with different people as they learn to navigate. And leadership is not about just getting work done, but it's also influencing the very character, the very fabric, the very capacity of people whom we are leading on daily basis.
So there's a very valid question that if my score is low, or if my score is 12, 13, 8, 4, how do I really move? And how do I really build on my score? Well, that's exactly what we are going to be answering next.
So the question is, a lot of people ask us, I'm sure, this is something that's come up for you as well. Yeah. Are you born with mental toughness, or can you learn it? I love this. Surya Narayan, you say that thriving allows scope to grow. It's a transitive word. I actually agree with you completely, because remember, even mental toughness and resilience is not something which is constant over a period of time. It can fluctuate if you go through a hugely a very taxing emotional situation which has been very demanding, whether at work or whether at a personal level. you can have your resilience or strength levels go down. So it is something that we consciously work on all the time. So are there some people who are born mentally strong? Yeah. And the answer to that is quite important. So, I've had a lot of people who coach with me, and Shashank has had that questions. Between both of us, I know that Shashank is an incredibly mentally strong person. So the thing is that are some of us innately, through nature, designed to be able to cope with situations in a much more better way? Like I love this, people are saying born strong. Or is it something which can be developed
and
over
Chanda
a period
says
of time?
it's through experience.
Through experience. So, you know what? There are 4 faulty assumptions
Absolutely.
that we are going to talk to you about.
I love this. Yeah, when we were putting this together, I think this was one of the most amazing things to see. So, assumption number 1. Mental toughness is an inborn characteristic.
A lot of people believe that either I am born with it or either I'm not. The fact of the matter is that children are born extremely resilient. The fact that a child can survive the birth experience, can survive in that whole space of the first 1 year of not being able to speak and yet dependent on another person for survival, the resilience is huge. And yet, as we move along in life, some of us tend to lose our sense of mental toughness and resilience as compared to other people. So this is a faulty assumption that mental toughness is an inborn characteristic. It is not, and we'll tell you why.
Let's look at assumption number 2. People who are mentally tough never break under pressure.
This is actually one of the biggest faulty assumptions, because mental strength is not about never breaking under pressure. Because in our kind of work in psychology, when you are so tough that you don't break, it means that in some way you're disconnected from what's happening around you. If you are human, you are going to break, but
I love this. Yeah, Ishita actually has picked it up. They break, but they are able to get up and bounce back faster.
So people who are mentally tough do break, but they end up recovering much more faster. And with every experience, they also emerge stronger, which means that the way they process their negative experiences are different as compared to people who are not mentally strong enough. I love the word anti-fragile. Recovery time is faster. Yes.
Absolutely.
Let's look at the third one.
Assumption number 3. So it's 2 extremes. Either someone is mentally tough or they are not.
This is not a black and white proposition. It is not about perfect, not perfect. It's a scale. There are a lot of numbers in between. So there, at every point in time, there is another one step that I can take towards moving to greater mental strength or resilience. I love the word, what Hardik is saying. The difference between tough and stubborn. Stubborn is when I have stopped listening to other people, when I believe I am right. Tough is not that. Tough is being able to bounce back from challenges wiser and also much more compassionate as a human being. And when I'm compassionate, I'm mindful of the fact that just as I have broken down, somebody else can. And how is it that we are able to help each other bounce back faster? Let's look at the last assumption. And I love this.
It says, since I fall apart under pressure, I will fall apart every time.
This is again not something which is true. That a lot of times I've had people who set goals, coaches who come to me and they talk about the dreams that they want to achieve. And one single point where they buckle under the pressure or they are not able to live up to their own expectation, the feeling is that no, it does. This Zoom does not have a 40-minute barrier at all. So
don't
have
worry.
To
you won't drop off. Don't worry.
So they tend to buckle under the pressure and give up. But the fact is that this is an assumption that if I fall apart under pressure once, I'm going to do that every time. No, we all do fall apart under pressure. But the fact is, next time, I'm probably more stronger than the last time because I have learned every single time with experience.
I love what Devina writes in here. She says that this could also come from some fears. Absolutely.
Yes.
A lot of times when somebody falls or when somebody makes a mistake, there is a tendency of being fearful of making that mistake again, especially if the consequences have been difficult for that person to deal with.
Absolutely.
So there's a question here. Can I repeat the third point? Yes, I can. And the third point says either someone is mentally tough or they are not. So it's either a black or a white.
It is not black or white. Yeah, there are a lot of, that's a resilience scale. Now, with these assumptions, then question comes, I'm going to come back to the question, are you born mentally tough or not? The answer is simple. No, you're not born mentally tough. It is something which can be developed. And I'm going to give you a very, very easy, relatable example. Connect mental strength to physical strength. Can we say that somebody is born physically strong or not? Yeah, that's not a statement that you can relate to, because physical strength is something that you invest in building. So every time you exercise, you do strength training, you eat nutritious food, you do resistance training, is when your strength starts to develop. So there comes a point where you tell yourself, okay, I'm physically strong. So mental resilience or mental toughness is not a trait that you have. So it's not a trait that you are born with, but it's an action that you take. Do you see the difference between the two? Yeah, so it's an action that you take. So mental toughness or mental strength is something that you invest in every single day, consciously building it step by step by step. And that happens every time we are dealing with a difficult situation. So either we end up losing strength or we end up gaining strength. So it's similar to physical strength. It's not like I'm born with it. It's not like I cannot build it if I'm born weak. Everybody who's born, I have a nephew, who was born premature, but he is so strong now. And that's because of his resilience, just physically as well as mentally. That's the kind of resilience that we are working with every single day.
I love what Sarita is writing here. She says, now I know why a lot of HR interviews ask the question, can you work under pressure? Absolutely, yeah, because we are looking at building resilience. We are looking at building mental toughness.
I would, in fact, rather than asking the question, how do you work under pressure, I would want to ask the question, what does pressure do to you? Yeah, because it's not just your action, but the implication of what that particular experience is doing.
I have another question here. It says, how can I build self-awareness? Well, attending the session today is a beginning to self-awareness, because every moment where we realize something about ourselves, that is the moment of self-awareness. You don't really need to do something magical to start becoming aware of yourself.
I'm just going to answer that. Self-awareness is nothing but your ability to have a learning orientation. Your ability to say, I don't know. And there is so much more to learn from every single experience.
Absolutely.
And there is no age limit to this entire thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. We are going to move to...
there are some
questions.
Question and
I'm looking at them here.
So he is looking at all of it. Thank you for staying with us.
Yeah, a coach is a great way to support you to bounce back. Absolutely. Yeah, I get that.
And our voice is breaking. We are getting that. So we are going to be a little louder. Hopefully each one of you is going to hear. If you can, please say a yes at this point, so we know that you can hear us.
Okay, thank you guys. We just need to scream our lungs out.
Yeah. So now let's really look at it. The question now is this: what is it that we can do in order to build greater mental strength? We know that we just have an hour together, and there are a lot of different ways, because remember, this is like an investment that you're making. It's a practice that you're building consciously. So it's not a pill that I can take and tomorrow I end up feeling mentally strong. So there is not much that we can, we can't cover everything, but we want to be able to cover something which is important. The question is not visible because we haven't put it here. One of the most important things which is connected with resilience and with mental strength is what is called as optimism. Yeah. And a lot of you had even written that. So people who are known to be optimistic tend to have greater mental strength. Now, let me tell you, most of us don't even understand what the term optimism means. And I'm going to give you some very interesting psychological insight to this. So the fact is that optimism lies at the heart of mental toughness. But do you know that as human beings, as species, we are not designed, or through evolution, we are not designed to be optimistic? Now, that's such an interesting perspective. I'm going to tell you why. As people who were living in caves, and when we had to survive as a species, as a tribe, the only way these people who were living in caves could survive was through or assessing what is the threat around. So the perception of threat was very, very important, whether it came from vicious animals, from people, and the only way a lineage could survive was by being extra vigilant and, yes, looking for danger all the time. So we evolved over a period of time to constantly scan the environment for threat and for danger, because that ensured that we were protected. Now, I want to share with you a research which was done with 5,200 people. So a group of psychologists did this research with 5,200 people, and there were three parts to this research. In the first research, what did they do? They gave these people pictures, and some pictures were positive images, and there were some which were negative images. And what they noticed as a result of this experiment was that people ended up spending more time on the negative images and thinking and reviewing them rather than the positive images. The second research that was done is that these participants were asked, so each person got some information about other people. And again, what the psychologists noticed was that the negative information about people tend to stay or was stickier than positive information, which meant that people remembered negative things about each other much more longer than the positive things. And it also impacted the way their overall opinion about people was. And the third experiment which was done is that people were asked to talk about themselves. And each of them were to narrate certain events and incidences in their life. And the best part was that people ended up narrating negative instances and tried to explain and tell how they got out of it much more than the positive instances. So and then they went on to actually do review about 200 articles to be able to come up with this insight. So what is the truth is this: bad is stronger than good in our mind. And that's how we have evolved as a species. But the interesting part is that every time we are focusing on the bad and the negative, it starts to have an impact on the mental strength.
That's precisely, Tamanna. Bad is stronger than good is the way we are designed to think in our mind.
But we have to now go against this evolutionary instinct and consciously develop a sense of optimism. And which is why we say optimism is a practice. And it is not something that one either has or one doesn't have, because we all have evolved brains. Now, let me share with you the most important thing. So what do I do? Yeah, what do I do with it? Martin Seligman, I'm hoping some of you may have read his work, huge contribution to what he was with University of Pennsylvania. He did a lot of work in our field. And what he said is that there are two very, very simple ways of building optimism. And we are going to share that with you right now. How simple it is, and yet how so profound. So let's tell you what's the first thing that he did. It may sound simple, but there is a lot of insight in it. What he said is that at the end of every day, write 3 good things that happened to me today. And there was a lot of research that he did, and he discovered that that's when I train my brain to be able to scan the environment for good and not just to be able to scan for all the negatives that are happening around me. So it's actually rewiring and retraining the brain to be able to look at what the good things are. So every single day, Sean Acker and then so many other people spoke about this very important discovery that Martin Seligman had for optimism. There is a second thing that he said, and I want you to hear this very, very carefully. So while Shashank has put this up here, listen to this. There are many moments in every day of our life where we experience a sense of overwhelm, where we are tired, we are frustrated, and we have a sense of wanting to give up. These are what he called as quit moments, Quit. The moments when I want to quit. And Martin Seligman said that what do we do with these quit moments are extremely important. If we quit at that time, then chances are that there is optimism and resilience is going to go down. But alternatively, if we just survive through those quit moments, being able to deal with that discomfort, just being patient with a very, very strong belief that this situation will change for the better, that good things are right around the corner. All I need to do is to be able to just wait and ride it out. So if we are able to work through those moments, not quit, but just stay through it while it passes, can contribute hugely to your mental strength. So one is scanning for the good and believe that situation will change for the better.
So I have been seeing a lot of beautiful comments here, and we are trying our best to answer all of them. But yes, visualizations, affirmations, heal your life. Louise Hay talks about it all the time. Yeah, looking at the possible positive statements. How can resilience be taught? So Sumit, you've been asking this question for a while. I don't know how can it be. I mean, that's something which teachers do, which as trainers we do. But for you, a question I would like to ask you is, how can you learn resilience? How can you grow and build your own resilience?
And whatever that we are telling you today can be a part of your whole building resilience exercise. Let's quickly go to the next one. So I'm going to talk about this. Remembering 3 good things at the end of the day and really working through those quit moments, knowing that good is right around the corner. All I need to do is just have patience. When they say, "Ke sara sara," whatever will be, but this too shall pass. So much optimism in there. Now, this one is so important, which says really looking at what the negative, destructive thought loop is all about. Now, what happens? Why do we tend to give up during the quit moments? Why do we tend to give up? If you can't listen to our voice, you can't hear our voice, please, can you hear us? Just type in yes, so we know that we are with you. Great.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for staying with us through this hour. It means the world. So now, why is it that we tend to quit? What happens? Why do those quit moments become big in our life? And behind that is a negative thought loop. And today we are going to tell you what it is. Any kind of a situation that I am in, between Shashank and I know that, and trust me, this is my level of self-awareness. Shashank and I am the bigger quitter than what Shashank is. His ability to stay in the quit moments is so high. And I know that comes from the fact that this too shall pass. Good is right around the corner. I just need to wait. And that's such a big part of who he is. So let's look at this. What's the mental dialogue that goes on in my head? What is this loop? It all starts with a thought. So there is a mental chatter that goes on in our head in any situation. So it is, why does this always happen to me? Things are always difficult in my life, and it is not fair, and why me? And when I have this kind of a mental chatter that goes on in my head in a difficult situation, every thought leads to an emotion. Trust me, this is a natural cycle. Every thought will lead to an emotion.
So if my thought is I'm not going to make it, things are not going to be okay. There is a thought of what's going to happen if something goes wrong.
Why does this always happen to me?
Why does this always happen to me? It's going to result into an emotion of fear. It could also be an emotion of anger or an emotion of sadness.
These are three very, very core emotions. Either I can get angry, I can get fearful, or I can feel intensely sad. Now, these thoughts and these emotions are what becomes my filter through which I view the situation. So they are the lens or the perception through which I view what is happening around me. And through this lens or this filter, I end up taking action. Yeah, so this action may not necessarily be in my highest good. And when this action doesn't give me the kind of result that I want, it again adds to the mental chatter. Nobody understands me. Things are always hard on me. It's always difficult. My boss is like shit, and so on and so forth.
It's very interesting because we've been talking to a lot of our coaches, and especially now when all of us across the world are dealing with a very, very significant change that we are experiencing and a significant challenge that we are experiencing, we've seen two very different kind of approaches. And I'm going to talk about two extremes to give you an example. So the first extreme says, nothing is going to go right. Yeah, everything is going to go just worse. Things have already become bad. I can't travel anymore. Recession is going to hit me. Businesses are not going to survive. Nothing is going to happen. What kind of an emotion will that leave? Yeah, and therefore, when I have an emotion of fear, an emotion of sadness, that becomes my filter, and therefore I take an action from that space. Similarly, there are other coaches who've been looking at it as a creative experience. They have been saying that, okay, a possibility, yes, I know something is not right. I know the environment is not supporting me at this moment. What is the possibility that I can create at this moment? What do you think now? And I would love to hear from you on the comments in the section. What do you think now would be their emotion? Can there be fear?
While Mahesh, you're right, training budgets will be cut by corporates. For all that it creates a completely new possibility that none of us had thought about before. So you never know what can get created. So remember, the beginning point of every quit situation is always the quality of mental chatter.
I'm just going to bring up one word here, and I think the word is hope, and I think that's so beautiful.
Beautiful, very powerful one. Yeah. I love two words which are hope and courage. Both are the ones which are so, so powerful. So once again, I'm going to repeat, at the core of where we tend to shift, either we move into a survival mode or a thriving mode, that one moment of choice and decision is the quality of mental chatter. If I'm able to catch myself at that point and say, what am I thinking? Is this going to add to my highest good? Is this what I want to be entertaining myself? At that point, if I maintain that optimism that this too shall pass, there is something fantastic around the corner, is when my emotion change, my filter or the lens through which I'm seeing the world changes, and therefore my action changes.
There was a question, can we explain filter? The filter is the lens through which I look at the world. And when my lens changes, my view of the world changes. And what defines the lens? These are my thoughts and my emotions.
So the two things that we've spoken to you about is consciously developing optimism.
Yes. Sorry, Sneha. I'm just seeing some beautiful comments and I'm very excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
So yes, we are looking at conviction, hope, courage, trust. Yeah, very, very powerful words here. Faith. Yeah, all of these are definitely contributing.
And remember, your mental chatter is in your control. You can't control what other people think, but you can control the way you decide to think in any kind of a situation. Trust me, I can hear you saying easier said than done, but necessary, and the basis of every change that we can have. So the question legitimately that we have for you is, what needs to change for you right now? What needs to change for each one of us right now? What's the one commitment that all 350, 400 people in here on this window today are willing to make?
You know what? We are almost at the end of an hour. We are going to take not more than 5 minutes. We just want you to write down one thing that you know needs to change inside of you right now to be able to build greater resilience.
Is it breaking the negative thought loop? Is it developing, being grateful for some things, being able to notice good things that are happening in your life, not giving up when there are the quit moments? What is it that you're willing to believe right now? Yeah, so this is wonderful. We want to tell you again today, we have had a lot of people who have said, how can we get on the resilience journey? You know, there was a question, why has resilience become such a big buzzword? The reason it has is because today it's become necessary for us to thrive. Today it's come top of the mind that all the external chatter has stopped. And what now the focus is all shifting inwards to see who we are as people. Yeah, so just to let you know that we have, if you want to go deeper in this journey, if you want to know more, if you want to learn more, there is a beautiful, beautiful course which is called the Building Resilience Masterclass. I think it's one of the best things that we have put together with a lot of research, lot of experience.
It's an online course, obviously.
Yeah, so you do it in your own place, in your own space and time.
So it has 13 videos which talk about different aspects. Some of you have been asking us, how do 5+ reflection worksheets, 3 assessments, 3 more assessments in there. We have a lot of PDF downloads which give you more and more information. And of course, it allows you to learn at your own pace, in the comfort of your own home, and you get a full year's access, which means that you can go back to it again and again.
And one last thing that we told you about what is going to be, the bonus for.
Okay. Yeah, hi. Welcome, Shashank.
Hi. Thank you, Dr. Neeraj. Thank you, Dr. Tushar, for calling us in.
We are very excited to have you here. It's all live now.
Yes, thank you.
So
thank
as
you.
you're kept on proceeding, I kept on writing questions, and as the talk was self-explanatory, you know, in fact, the first question which came into my mind was, are we born with this? And it was just explained, right? So we are all born resilient. We really learn the pessimism as we grow.
Yeah.
So a few comments. There is a recent book by Mark Manson with the title is Everything is Fucked, right? So in which he
I'm
says
sorry,
that
I'm missing you. I'm missing you. Could you repeat yourself again?
so there is a book by Mark Manson which is currently come out, and the title is Everything is F. And one of the chapters says that the opposite of happiness is not unhappiness; it is hopelessness. That's what you have highlighted in your talk. You know, so we have to bank on hope, and there is no situation greater than right now.
Absolutely.
To build up this resilience, honestly, right?
I'm going to quickly comment on that, Dr. Tushar. So it's actually very interesting because we spoke, if you would have heard that section, we spoke about 3 negative emotions that we tend to experience, which is fear, absolutely, fear, anger, and sadness. Similarly, just the way we have 3 negative emotions, we have 3 positive emotions, which are our 3 core positive emotions. Interestingly, it's love, second is joy or happiness, and the third one, as you rightly said, is hope. So these are the 3 core positive emotions that we tend to experience. So you're absolutely right. It's all about, at the end of the day, if there is no hope, there is no future that we're looking at.
Yeah, and I have this thought that everything that we achieve is based upon 2 things: need and ease. So it's a balance between the 2. So it's how much do you really need to be hopeful, to be optimistic, to be happy, and how easy it is for you. And you have to reach a certain product, right? So if your need is very high, and if you are still not able to achieve it, then you have to take help to make it easy for you. That's what I was trying to imply.
Very, very
and that's
interesting.
where our seminars, our programs actually come into work. So everybody has a high need, but everybody is not able to achieve it. To balance it, he has to make it easy for himself by taking help from such programs.
Very interesting, Dr. Tushar.
Neeraj, you want to add something?
No, you go ahead.
Okay,
You're doing a good
so
job.
just tell me one thing, is that these are the key words which have been coming across the last 5 years: grit, resilience, relentless, anti-fragile, and mental toughness. They seem to be forming the titles of most of the current self-help literature, right? And there's so much of scientific evidence. Yet it's not easy to sort of achieve this. It's quite tough. So do you have any sort of answer to that, as if how to make it easier to be tough?
It's very, very interesting. Thank you for asking me that question, Dr. Tushar. And you're absolutely right. Resilience, grit, mental toughness, all of these seem to be the buzzword. Because the fact of the matter is, like we even highlighted in our talk today, the fact is that naturally our mind is used to looking at things which are negative. So if I really have to look at it, how many thoughts we have in a day, if you really count, we have multiple millions and millions of thoughts in the day.
Close to 60,000 or 90,000 thoughts.
90,000 thoughts a day. And if you really look at it, almost 90% of them are not positive. They are negative thoughts. And the reason for that is because as humans, we are designed to scout for threat. We were living in caves. We were meant to live in caves with danger around us, with animals around us. So very naturally, we are meant to scout for threat. And that's why the idea is to protect ourselves. If you look at the situation that we are in today, look at what sells. It's constantly the negative news that sells. Everybody talks about how many deaths. Everybody talks about how many infections. There are very few people who actually focus on how many people are recovering. There are it doesn't capture eyeballs. And that's why there is this constant need to project negativity, because we absorb it fast. That's what even, that's the research that we even spoke about today. So therefore, it is that much more important for us to build resilience, as it doesn't come to us naturally.
Right.
So while we are capable of building it, it is not something which comes to us very, very naturally, not for everyone.
So at this point, one comment I have is that you gave the example of gym training, right? So you do muscle training. Now, for example, somebody is capable of lifting 10 pounds and he is made to lift 12 or 15 pounds, he will be able to exercise and build his muscle. But if it becomes 22 pounds or 30 pounds, then he is going to be collapsing. So I think currently a lot of times we are cornered into a situation whereby we are actually called upon to lift 50 pounds. Because I'll just share with you right now, if you have a patient who is breathless and whose saturation is dropping, he can't get admission into a hospital.
That's true.
The relatives will run from pillar to post. And it's so difficult, and it's difficult for both parties, for doctors to deliver healthcare and for patients to procure the healthcare, and for the government officials to facilitate both.
Absolutely.
And the frustration is all three parties are scared for themselves also. So it's such a unique situation that you want to facilitate, you want to do things, and at the same time, you are under a pressure that you may perish yourself.
Absolutely.
In the process of delivering this service. Truly, all three are feeling that way. So it's such a unique situation which we have never been in, So there are no past precedences to fall back upon.
Absolutely.
There is a book which says how to handle pressure, which says that actually you should always think that the current situation which you've always been in before. But I think currently we don't have a precedence, at least in terms of healthcare. As regarding what I mentioned, because every society, every building has an example where they are roaming around with patients for 18 hours, 22 hours before they are able to get admission, and nobody is at fault here. So, so we are in a very, very tough situation. But only thing is we can hope, right? And we can try to build on this love and hope principle, somehow keep reminding ourselves that this adversity is not going to leave us. So we have to have alternative belief. Your wife mentioned the book Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman. So he
Yes.
talks about ABC: adversity, belief, and consequence. So if we want to change the consequence arising out of an adversity, we have to have a better belief, right?
Absolutely.
So your comment as to if we do your course, does it really help us form better beliefs in an easier manner?
So thank you for asking the question. It's I would say yes, because our work a lot is generally happens on three areas. The first area that we talk about is awareness, because a lot of times we are not even aware of where we are. So like you rightly said, if we know we can lift 10 kgs, we are able to lift it very easily. But what if I did not know that about myself? I
Yeah.
suddenly start to lift it and I realize that my back is broken because I was not able to lift it. So step number one is awareness. That's a lot of the work that we do. In awareness, significant amount of work revolves around belief systems, because belief systems is like this mental filter, that we spoke about. It's like this lens that we look at the world from, and we have beliefs about everything under the sun. And what's interesting is I'm also going to take a moment to define the word belief. Beliefs are assumptions that we hold as true. They are assumptions that we hold as true. And the interesting part is that my belief can be different from your belief, and both of us hold it as true. And that's the reason we respond to different situations in different ways. And that's also the reason sometimes that your reaction to a similar situation could actually trigger my reaction. So beliefs are assumptions that we hold as true. So coming back to my answer, first part is awareness, which includes belief. Second part is managing ourselves, because just by awareness it's not enough. I also need to know that now that I know who am I, now that I know what am I capable of, am I able to manage my emotions, am I able to manage myself better? And number three that we look at is strategies. So what are the strategies that I need to consciously do, or habits or practices that I need to consciously do to ensure I'm able to work on this? So all of our online courses, they focus on this. All of them have videos which are extremely beautifully done. We actually focus on talking about concepts and details. Each of them have grids where you are actually able to see where you are on those grids. We also have assessments which help you give you a lot more self-awareness. We have reflection sheets which helps you ask the question, where am I right now? What is it that I'm doing right now? And all these things can be done in the comfort of your home.
So how to build this awareness? Does the course also
Yes,
teach
it
us that?
does. Yes, it
So,
does.
so it's not just it teaches us that we have to be aware, but it also teaches us how to build on this
Absolutely.
awareness.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think we are sort of running towards the end of our program, Neeraj. So the idea is that our adversity is not going to change, and it is going to remain here for a
Yeah.
good long length of time.
Yes.
So what we learned today is to change our consequence, we definitely need to change our belief. And as you rightly pointed out, to change our belief, first we need to be aware of what we are actually capable of handling, and from there we need to move ahead. Right?
Absolutely.
Right. So, Shashank, I believe we discussed that for Ortho TV listeners, you would be offering us some sort of
Yeah. So we've
benefit
actually
of the course.
yeah. So we've actually created we created a specialized offer for listeners of Ortho TV. And the way we did this is we have a course on managing conflicts, because we are in a situation where we are constantly dealing with conflicts at workplace, at home. And now research has said
Or
that
with ourselves.
with ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But research says that now, because of the time that we are in, because of the lockdown period, conflicts are on a rise because we are all dealing with stress. So we have actually created a course which says how to manage conflicts with ease. This course is on Saturday. It's a 2-hour course. So if any of your users decides to buy the masterclass that we have, a masterclass is a self-paced online learning course which gives you access for a year. You can go back to videos, you can have reflection sheets, all of that. So if any of your listeners buys any of the masterclasses that we have, they will be able to come for our 2-hour workshop on Saturday at no extra cost. So it's almost like an added learning that we are looking to offer. And we have 3 master classes. One is on building resilience, because that's something which we all need to truly work on. Second is what we call as embracing change. We are in the process of going through change. It's the change which has been thrust upon us without us wanting it. So how do we embrace the change which has come to us? And the third course, very interestingly, is called dealing with difficult people, because we all have difficult people in our lives at workplace or at home, or there are some people whom we find difficult because our personalities don't match. So how do we deal with them? So these courses are available as master classes. So if your listeners purchase any one of them, then we offer them the entry to the 2-hour Saturday workshop at no cost. The 2-hour Saturday workshop is priced at 999 Indian rupees or $15. And the master classes are priced at 3,600 rupees or $49.
And the Saturday workshop is 6 to 8.
4 to 6.
4 to 6, yeah.
That's right.
So I want to understand a little bit about masterclass technology wise. So these are all pre-recorded sessions and pre-recorded material which you are going to supply, which will be available for 1 year.
That's right. That's right. So from a technology perspective, Dr. Neeraj, it's a course which has been built on the world's most expensive and the best platform. We use, it's not only a learning management system, it's actually a lot more. So the idea is that a person has videos, a person has downloadable PDFs, a person has quizzes, a person can actually download the information, go back to it, refer to it as many times as they would like. And it's a self-paced course. So you have a structure by step process, like chapter by chapter. And after you watch every video, each video is 3 to 5 minutes, which makes sure that you can watch it even while you're traveling, even while you're sitting at home. You could be just listening to it, while in your free time. And then you are able to do the reflection worksheets post that.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes.
These 3 workshops, do they have a lot of overlap or they are quite mutually exclusive?
They are completely mutually exclusive.
So it would benefit if we would actually focus on all 3 of them.
We actually have a lot of people who buy all 3 of them because, they are completely different concepts. While resilience and change focus majorly on my own personal growth, dealing with difficult people actually helps me understanding people and managing people better. And you were asking me something more, Dr. Neeraj?
Yeah. So this was regarding, you are saying 3 to 5 minute videos. Approximately one class will have how many?
Approximately one class has anywhere between 12 to 15 videos.
Okay.
And the interesting part is the videos are not something which you just watch it once and you feel that you've understood the concept. You may actually have to go back to the video and rewatch it because some of these concepts are very beautifully detailed, explained. You may want to download the worksheet and rewatch the video to ensure that you are able to fill it, So it's not like, okay, 15 minutes, 5 minutes per video, 15 videos, so I can finish it in 45 minutes or 90 minutes. It doesn't work like that. Generally, every class, we recommend that a person takes minimum 2 weeks to finish it, because we recommend that do not watch more than 1 or 2 video a day, because your brain is still processing and absorbing the information.
And supposing at the end of the masterclass or even during the masterclass, we have some queries. So do you answer those queries? Is there a way, or how does it work? Or it's just a self thing where you can basically eventually, as the course goes by, the queries are answered. How is it? How does it work?
So it's actually both. Eventually the queries get answered, but we also have a comment section in the bottom there. And we have a lot of our users who tend to ask questions there. And Sneha or I, once in 2 days, we get onto the platform and we reply to all the comments. And when the comment is replied, you get an email saying that your question has been answered. So, the whole idea is that we want to make sure that people who are using our system get access to as much information as possible.
And do you do one-on-one workshops also? Means basically, supposing if I have a nursing home and I have, say, around 4 or 5 employees whom I want to do the workshop with me. So do you do these type of workshops as well? Some people may have more employees, like 10 employees, but not more than 10, I'm sure, because most of the others, like, we don't want the nurses to do these workshops. We want our front office, back office who are actually managing admin. Maybe those people may benefit from some workshops like what you are conducting. Yeah. But I don't think the nurses or the doctors may benefit much. The assistant doctors may benefit or may not, but they don't have time. But at least the front office, back office can certainly help us a lot.
So we've done a lot of workshops for doctors. A lot of them, like just the way Ortho TV has an association, We've actually gone and visited some doctors' associations where we've addressed a lot of them. So yes, we do workshops for them. It's just that when we do customized workshops or when we do a workshop for one particular organization, we've realized that it can be a little high on the budget.
Okay.
And that's why most of the people prefer to come for our open programs, because our open programs are people which everybody can attend. Generally, when we do workshops, we do it for corporates who are able to see, who have budgets in a certain
Right.
learning budget is, always kept aside. So budget is generally the constraint
Right, I
we've
understand.
realized, so.
Yeah.
Do you have Hindi workshops as well?
No, we
Okay,
work only with English.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They are very global. They're in almost 8 or 10 countries, right?
Yeah, that 10 countries is where we've offered workshops. Sneha and I have traveled ourselves to do that. We've offered workshops in 5 international languages with translations. And we have a community of trainers across the world. We have 135 facilitators whom we've trained outside of the country. And each of these facilitators are delivering the content that we've created. So there are trainers in 35 countries across the world. And the whole idea has been to get like-minded people to come together, to be able to, offer workshops, to be able to create the change that people are looking for.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shashank. It was, in fact, it was tough to get you on board, but it's been absolutely worthwhile journey.
Yes.
And I'm sure many of us would probably check out the workshops that you are talking about and would be purchasing it. And you said we have to buy it by
tonight, 11:59. We've actually created a specialized link for you guys.
So that will Neeraj Bijlani will send it across.
Just send me. You have sent me a PDF. Does that have the special link? I didn't see it.
Yes, the PDF has a clickable link right inside. So if you go to the page number 1 and page number 2, it says isra.co.in/yes.
Okay.
And you can actually click on that link right there.
Right.
And I also wanted to thank Dr. Neeraj and Dr. Tushar for getting us on call today. And the intention has not been to be difficult. It's just that, there have been so many demands on us.
Yes.
And we are completely trying our best to make sure that we are available for everything.
Yeah.
Personal demands as well as professional ones. So thank you really for inviting us.
People in the business of motivation are highly in demand right now.
They are. And just the way you've been hit with change, we've been hit with a very different kind of change. And I think we are all adapting to the new environment now and trying our best to deliver as much as we can to as many people as we can.
Yeah. So just like you said in the talk today, it's difficult to adapt and change, but unless we change, we do not survive and thrive.
We won't. Yeah, we won't. Absolutely.
I think at that note, probably Neeraj, we can thank Ortho TV and all our viewers. Thanks a lot. Shashank, for being there. And Neeraj, you will be forwarding the PDF with the offer.
Yes, immediately.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Dr. Neeraj. Thank you.